Welcome back, guys, to another episode of No Face, No Case. So, as you guys already know, this is where we talk about anything and everything. The only rule is you're not allowed to know who I am. And we're not changing that. Y'all know the drill. These conversations could get controversial, and I cannot have anybody trying to find out where I live, or try to hunt me down the street like, oh, yo, that's the guy from the podcast. Let's get him. Nope, not today. Well, today's conversation is a simple one. I mean, race isn't something easy to talk about, but I feel like this is a very important conversation that probably a lot of people are curious about, especially those that are Latino like me. One thing that you guys don't actually know about me is that I'm actually very passionate about acting. That's actually the biggest reason why I cannot have you knowing who I am. I can't have you guys ruining my opportunity to make it big one day and being famous. I mean, maybe one day in the future, if I make it, I'll just say, hey, remember that podcast? That was me. But until then, this is how it's going to be. I'll give you guys a little hint, though. I am Latino, and that's why this one today is going to hit home. Well, a lot of you may know simply by watching movies or any type of television show that you don't see a lot of mainstream Latinos on the screen. You can trust when I say that the ones that are, you probably didn't even know they were Latino. Or let's be inclusive, or Latina, An example would be Jessica Alba. I didn't know she was a Latina. I mean, when I looked up all this information and I tried to get a little bit of background on this, she popped up and I was like, wait, what? What? Since when? But, still, inclusivity, I guess. Did you know? Probably not. Well, a short story about me is after a few months of actively looking for acting jobs, I kind of started to lose my passion due to the lack of opportunities that were available to me. All the roles that I was seeing were based on race and not really on talent. It wasn't okay, where did you go to school? How many jobs have you done? None of that. It was looking for a white male, looking for a blonde white male with blue eyes and blonde hair. Must be 5'7" or something, And look at me, I'm a brown Latino man with black hair. I'm 5'5", and I definitely don't have blue eyes. So definitely was not gonna work for me. And that was probably 50% of the roles, if not more, that required that. And I obviously couldn't apply to any of those, even though the role seems super exciting, but they weren't even gonna look at my picture, obviously. But I mean, it's kind of crazy to think, all this information. I think one of the things I looked up was 4.5% of speaking roles in Hollywood were for Latinos, which is where's the 95.5% going? Where are all these other roles going? I don't understand. I want to be able to apply to those too. It's not fair. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to any Latino brown person trying to look for a role. I mean, you literally don't even have to be Latino, but still. That's what we're talking about today. I mean, shouldn't it be 100% of the roles are open to anybody? I mean, I get it when you're trying to portray a role for a specific movie that's based on a true story. So if it's based on somebody, the president, if it's based on how Biden's whole 4 years went, obviously we're going to look for someone that looks like Biden, if that's the case for that film, But I think for a majority of other things, just movies or roles that are just starting, for Stranger Things, obviously, those are a lot more open. They don't specifically say what race you have to be. They do have an age requirement, obviously, because these are kids. But I mean, for the rest of the things, I think I would want an equal opportunity to be able to join. I know a lot of roles say looking for 18 to 35 that look 20 or that look high school, like aged, which would make sense. And I kind of fell into that category for like 2 years because I did look pretty young. I mean, I still look younger than my age right now. I mean, I'm rocking on 25. People think I'm 21, which is a great thing, I would say, when it comes to acting, because then I could probably like have more opportunities for a longer amount of time. But I don't want to be a high school student, even though I've done like extras work for like 13 Reasons Why or short films, and I was a high school student in the background, that was fun. But I think as I'm getting older, I don't want to just be that high school student, because I mean, one day I'm going to be looking old, and then I'm going to be like, well, you don't look the part. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, I'm not really a kid, so I mean, it makes sense for me not to fit the part. But I mean, I feel like I wish it was a lot more inclusive, because I mean, Latinos do make up 18% of the US population, and 24% of like the frequent moviegoers are Latinos, and they don't even see themselves on screen. I mean, if you take me for example, the last time I probably saw a Latino on TV before COVID, I mean during COVID, was probably when I was at work, because I work at a nonprofit clinic that's majority Latinos. So we have soap operas on TV like every day. So I mean, I'm seeing them then, but I mean, it's not an English channel. It's not a channel that a lot of people watch. So that's not even, and even then, like the people that fit the roles for those like shows are required to be a certain skin complexion, like you have to look a certain way. It's just, I feel like a lot of times nowadays we're not really looking at talent. Like talent isn't really important. Like we have these younger people, or like just these new people in movies and stuff that are like horrible. I don't mean to like roast anybody or be that person, but like they're not good. And it's like, I have not found a movie that recently came out that I'm very interested in, or that has actually like excited me to like rewatch it. I'm just like, no, no. Just because they're have a lot of influencers on Instagram, or I mean, a lot of followers on Instagram, or because they have a lot of like background with like, oh, my mom was in this movie, my cousin was in this movie, my brother is an actor in this and this. Like, I understand the connections and stuff, but I mean, seriously, at least go to school or something so that you know what you're doing. Because when you're acting, it kind of feels like a joke. It's like you're doing an action movie, but it seems like a comedy because your acting is really funny and not in a good way. And I don't know, I feel like it would be very important to me, and I think a lot of other people, to include more diversity when it comes to Hollywood, especially because it's only recently started to go up, like in 2019, when representation for Latinos and women and people of color were going up. So it's not that very recent, but still, I think it's a step forward from where we were at before, and I think that's a really cool thing. I feel like also minorities have been shown more so in more films lately. Not as many as I would like, honestly, but I feel like, because I mean, we have these BET Awards, which is like for African Latinos, not Latinos, but like just African Americans or Black people in general. And that's pretty cool, because they have their organization that will like obviously show that they're doing a great job and just acknowledge their work and stuff. And then we have the SAG-AFTRA Awards, which includes all the Actors Guild, and that's super cool. But a lot of times it's majority white people, which I don't want to say like I hate it, or like I hate that there's not these opportunities. I mean, I hate that there's no opportunities, or there's a lack of opportunity. But I mean, it kind of makes sense in a way, because that's how it's been for a long time. But I think as we are progressing as a society, it's also very important to move forward, and to like create new opportunities for more people and just make it a lot better. But I think we can all join together, build a new organization that includes more inclusivity, more like real things. Because I know a lot of people would love to see themselves, to see inspiring people that like drive them to be able to accomplish these things that they feel are not reachable due to lack of opportunity, lack of skin color, like things like that. And so I think it's very essential and very important to make sure that we include people in everything, especially because if we want to move together as a society. I think it's essential that we all have our own input, or like we all put in a little piece of ourselves into everything that we do to create a much more closer view of a utopian society, which obviously is, I don't think it's possible to be a utopia because everything can't be perfect for everybody, but I think we can get close to just respecting and admiring people. But thank you for coming back to another episode of my podcast. If you guys want to talk about something new, go ahead, hit me a message. You know my Instagram, you know my Twitter, and we can start a new conversation about something new. And like I said before, no face, no case.